This is the GV Podcast, a variety review podcast featuring two of the three idiots giving their thoughts on cartoons and anime. This is an opinion-based podcast, and there's no way we're saying our thoughts and opinions are objective. Keep this in mind and enjoy the show. Thunder! Thunder! Thunder thighs! Yes! Hello everybody, my name is Mayhem!
I'm Duke.
And today we are joined by...
Highlander83, how you doing?
And we're doing good today, because Duke, what are we talking about today?
You referenced it. We're talking about 1985's Thundercats.
Man, it's almost like you told me what it was, and I was just like, I know what to say.
Yes, that's the point.
Yes!
It was confusing. Are we going with the thighs from the 80s or the show Thundercats?
Guys were on the thinner end, so...
Depending
Depending on where you're at.
Well, I'll have an answer for you after we finish watching it. But yeah, so today we are talking about Thundercats. We'll be back soon with when we watch it. But before we get into that, Highlander, what's your experience with Thundercats?
Thundercats was one that I watched because it was good, but it wasn't one of my favorites. When I was younger.
It was one of those...
It was one of those ones you watch to get to Turtles or Transformers.
It was a stepping stone.
But I did have the sword for Thundercats because I thought it was cool.
Oh, definitely. I've seen that one, yeah. I just really like the, anytime that they go with a character that's just like, and he's going to have an entire mantra, and all of these kids from the 80s know it by heart. That's marketing.
That
Hell
is
yeah.
marketing, especially when he pulls out the sword, which we will do on the episode. We're not going to spoil it here, but we'll go through the full mantra of Lino from Thundercats.
That's probably how
Hell
I'll
yeah.
open it.
I was going to say, when it comes to Thundercats, for me, I watched the, what was it? I think 2010 version? I think I watched the 2010 version where there were like a lot more you could see their age in their designs.
I think I seen something like that, but then like I watched like a couple episodes of it, and then I was just like, I'm done.
Well, I watched that one. It only had one season, which I think they kind of did it dirty on that one, to be perfectly honest, because it was actually very well done. It was more aggressive, more adult.
Yeah.
Like the fight scenes. When you watch the original version, you're going to see it's a little bit more about how he ages and all that stuff. So
Really?
it's very different. Well, he ages, and you see his is more dramatic than the others because he has to.
All right.
And just how the story goes, you don't want to spoil it too much until we get to the show. But
Yeah.
I thought the one that they did before, I don't remember the exact year, the redo of it, or reload, or whatever they want to call it, remake, reload.
Yeah. Remaster.
Remaster. It's actually very well done. I watched the first two episodes. I was like, no, they actually did it right, did it with some justice, and made it more adult.
Interesting.
The female Thundercat, I think it was every 80s boy's fantasy for a while.
Yeah.
They forget about April for a second, and then the marathon of Turtles episodes come back on, and you're just like, I forgot, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'll say, I go ahead and check. Each time when we do one of these part ones, I like to check and see different information about the show itself. One thing I immediately checked was I was like, I wonder who animated this. And I get to find out, yeah, it's the same studio that did, you'd appreciate this, The Hobbit.
Oh, yeah. When you see the original one, you will see, if you watch the original Hobbit cartoon, which is like epic for me. I watch it once a year minimum.
Yeah.
Because I grew up on that. I grew up on that when it was actually a disc player. Not CD, not DVD.
Disc,
where you had to like slam it in. They look like giant floppy disk cartridges.
Yeah. Well, you want to go one step funnier. It's the fact that the studio that made these, it has this crazy history of just evolving from like it did all these shows in America. It eventually basically was what became Studio Ghibli.
Oh God!
As well as another one that we've seen recently, Studio Pierrot.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, they did Bleach in the far off future.
Yeah.
I have no idea about what studio does what. I think I see one that I think the only one I remember is Gonzo. That's it. That's the only one I understand.
Consider the insanity of evolving from we animated Thundercats to we animated Bleach.
Well, I mean, it's not the same animators. I mean, those guys are probably retired by now.
Yeah.
So it might be the same company, but companies do evolve with new people.
Yeah, that's the thing I love.
All right, we'll be back after we watch Thundercats.
Whore.
Ha. How am I supposed to reach that pile of conveniently placed marshmallows? I know what to do. Thunder! Thunder! Thundercats! Ah! I've got too many marshmallows now.
Non-spoiler thoughts on Thundercats. I'll say this: surprisingly good compared to the jokes I've seen.
It's very similar. What I've said before with with when we were talking about Bleach, where it's surprisingly like adult, but like not like explicit adult, but like mature adults.
Yeah, this is a mature show. Surprisingly.
Well, it's more along the lines of just dealing more of like leadership and life lessons.
Yeah.
That's where you get the more mature undertones instead of like what we have now. This one deals with more of like teaching on how to be a good leader, what to do,
Responsibility.
and responsibility about, leading your people and not just having them do everything while you just sit there and eat bonbons because you're the king. Actually being a true leader and a king.
Eating sardines from a can.
Yes, but they're all out of sardines in cans.
Even though it's still Earth and Earth has a bunch of crazy stuff on it now.
Yeah, they've got, weird, like, wolf, wombat people.
Black Widow shark.
And robot bears.
Robot bears, burbles.
The burbles are cool.
Burbles.
I'm still going to acknowledge, where the hell did they come from?
I don't even want to know where they came from.
They show up again in 2011. I love it.
Planet Care Bear.
Yeah, I don't even.
It was a revolution, and they shed their responsibilities of like being a specific type of Care Bear.
During the mass genocide of the Care Bears of 1973,
they were exiled.
Maybe they're actually like the Terminators of the Care Bears, and they just kill everybody off, and they're the ones left over.
They won.
Yeah.
We care for your demise.
It says Skynet, Sky Bear 1.
Sky Bear won. I love that.
Imagine the fucking Terminator music, but then followed by Care Bear Stare.
But Thundercats has it's very mature lessons and all that kind of stuff, and it was definitely one of those. It just came up, and now there's this entire set of lore that like I think it could stand, like the amount of toys that like I can see happen from every single episode. Is this like one of the most like?
Oh yes, they had a lot of toys made for that one. Not as much as Masters of the Universe He-Man, but that was actually a toy production that became a show because nobody wanted to play with it because like there's no story behind them. So they made the toys, but this one they made the toys for Thundercats. There was a lot of them. You had the base, you had the tank, which I forgot the name of. I was always amazed. I'm like, how is it with a broken shift they're literally able to make a base and a tank?
Yeah,
that was pretty impressive.
They just took.
Wait, wasn't it literally just called the Thunder Tank?
I think it was called. Yeah, it was probably just called the Thunder Tank. It's just very simple. Kids want the Thunder Tank
is on the run.
They said it like every 10 seconds, so everybody knew what it was.
But the most popular thing was the sword and glove.
Oh yeah,
everybody. I had that toy growing up. Was the sword and glove. And
I
actually saw today that. Just looking this up, they actually have a real sword made of the Thundercat sword.
Ooh.
Now, totally a wall hanger is probably duller than a letter opener, but it's still, I got the Thundercat sword. Yeah, I can see far away with these binoculars attached to it.
I mean, if they also made binoculars that could fit through the
they did.
They did?
They did. With the toy, if you put out the toy and you pull it out and then you put them on separately and you can actually see farther.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Binoculars of omens.
It is shocking. Like, once again, I basically teased it a bit ago, but my one thing that surprised me is Thundercats was always the show that growing up, like, I had seen bits and pieces of it, but that was the show that I definitely heard the most, like, when it came to the whole thing of, like, 80s cartoons being stiff and all of them kind of being guy-shaped but color variation.
Everybody's designed exactly the same except for the color differentiation and their head. I
am shocked.
Well, that's when you're mostly thinking about G.I. Joe.
Oh, yeah.
G.I. Joe, like that whole meme, who's coming to attack us? Cobra! Okay.
I know who it is now.
All right, we know who they are now, okay.
Yeah. That kind of, just bringing up him, also just the main villain, Mum-Ra. Just the fact that anytime he shows up, he's the epitome of a hater.
Well, not only that, but I've always wondered about Mun-Ra. It's like everything was like all these different creatures and, life straight on. They got unicorns. And, but then they turn right around and this guy's living in a pyramid. Now, I think, I'm like, it's like, dude, pyramids, kind of dead even by our time. I think they'd be way beyond dead by then.
Yeah. It's so weird seeing, because they literally say in the beginning that it's Earth, and all of these like crazy fantasy things are there. There were dragons. There's snow people.
Oh wait! It's
Giants.
Third Earth.
Giants. It's third Earth.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
right.
what they.
Well, that is Earth because we are the third rock from the sun. So
Yeah. It's very interesting the way that they name a bunch of things in this that like aren't the toys, that they're just like, it's the Thunder Tank. Buy the Thunder Tank. No, it's Third Earth. The bubbles, or the burbles. Sorry, burbles. Sorry, burbles. And it's
you
just,
do that too well.
Parables.
He's the one that makes all those voices. He does those voices. I do
Actual voices.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't do voices. I just got mine. That's it.
It's like whenever a actor does a voice work and they're just like, "Hey, it's me, guys. What's up? How's it going?" I'm doing
Chris
a voice
Pratt.
now. But then there's Robert Pattinson, who just does the most screechy voice ever.
That got me. Chris Pratt was shown off recently again. Once again, every time he does a voice role, ever, he just does his normal voice.
Okay,
every
how
time.
did we get from Thundercats
let's
to
move
Chris
on, yeah.
Pratt? Yeah. Well, let's not get off track here.
voices, because the voices in this show
Yeah,
are
my one complaint. God, these voices. Except for Mum Ra. Mum Ra's my favorite. And Pam.
Well, they had very, corny voices back then, but that was part of, like, you gotta remember the innocence of the children of the 80s.
Yeah.
That was like the last of the, what, I don't know why they call it the nuclear family now. It's not like we're all radiated, but that was really,
You aren't?
we're not. No, I haven't glowed in the dark yet, and I haven't gotten any superpowers.
I haven't
So
broken any bones to find out.
yeah, so not much radiation
That's
going
the
on
case
there.
for Fallout, but
Yeah, I mean, it's good for a game, But, no, it's just, back in those days, it was about life lessons and all that stuff. It wasn't about just random shit.
Telling
we've
a
got now.
crazy fantasy story.
Crazy fantasies. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the modern cartoons, are we even allowed to say the other cartoons on our channel?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's-
like South Park, Family Guy, Rick and Morty. Those are just like crazy antics. You don't really learn anything. You're just laughing at just the blatant insanity of it.
Yeah, yep. That's weird.
But
It's
back-
easier to consume in 15 seconds than actually watching the whole
Yeah,
episode.
but back in those days, it was about a story. Like, a story would last an entire season. You would have to watch the entire season. It wasn't just fragmented. I mean, even like really good ones like the Batman, Batman Adventures.
Oh yeah.
It didn't have a long arcing story that lasted an entire season. No, it was like each episode was its own finite story. This one, it's like finite stories, but there's an overarching story around it.
It's
God, I miss
it's
when
epi-
cartoons hooked you.
Yeah, it's episodic, but with each episode it set up the worlds that you were in, and it basically set up a bunch of, like, I don't want to say not exactly what I'm about to say, but like the political landscape of this setup
Yeah.
of the world. But basically that we got the Thundercats over
think
here,
it's
the
called the
Burbles over
geopolitical
here,
landscape.
the snowmen or whatever that's what they were called.
Yeah, the
The-
giants up in by the trees.
the giants, then Mum-Ra, and then the mutants and all that kind of stuff. It was very interesting just seeing this world get so, like, the lines get obviously, like, drawn, because it's like teaching responsibility while also teaching you about, like, the lines and alliances and who works with each other. There's humans in this.
I was gonna say, I gotta mention my one like spoiler thing about like the setup of the world that kind of gets me. Of the Thundercats, their world is destroyed, and so they have to go to go away.
We
and
must
they go to
find a
Third
new
Earth.
planet.
The mutants follow alongside them. It's so interesting to see the whole thing with like you see were the mutants part of Thundera?
I think
Or
that's-
is it no.
No, the mutants were a different race. They were raiders. They were kind of like pirates.
I know they
Yeah.
had slaves from the planet Plundar.
Yeah, they would take slaves from Plundar. They were pirates. So they were just like marauding raiders.
But
What
they were
always
strong
bothered me
enough.
was like in the later season of Thundercats that they returned to Thundera, and I'm like, but I thought
Yeah.
we saw it blow up.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm like, once a
okay.
planet blows up, there is no more planet.
And nothing
is-
left.
It's the unfortunate thing when a show or comic, movie, whatever, goes on too long, where if your origin is that your home was destroyed, there's inevitably some storyline of you go back.
But still, science fiction. Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
I
gonna
mean,
be some strings and some what's the term?
suspension of reality.
Suspension of disbelief.
Yes.
That's what it is. And
You're just going there to be entertained.
And-
you know, it's just like, come on.
yeah, and where is that going to be the most obvious in? An 80s cartoon show for children.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you can kind of just go with it, and the kids will be entertained, and they also know that that's why a lot of the '80s cartoons, besides like Turtles and Transformers, didn't last very long because kids grew up.
Yeah.
You know, because they also helped them to grow up too. They taught them like, okay, you make mistakes. If you learn from your mistakes, you know, you move on. That's how you grow. I don't care.
there's-
Mum Ra just, you know, had bad pajamas when he was growing up. That's why he's covered in wrappings. I don't care that, you know, he was, you know, he had too much room and he rolled around on the floor when he slept. That's why he sleeps in a coffin. I don't care. The fact is, he's still evil.
Or he smokes
love
too
it.
much weed, that's why he's got the red eyes.
Yeah,
I love it when it
I
comes
was always bloodshot.
when it comes to villains, like easy example when it comes to that whole thing. Two examples that come to mind. There's a fan art that goes around all the time to make fun of that show Steven Universe. Of it's Steven with his arm wrapped around Adolf with it's okay guys, he said sorry.
But-
So
But let's bring it back to the
Yeah.
Thundercats
Mum Ra
with
is the epitome
Mum Ra.
of one of my favorite villains in all of the 80s.
Yeah, because he's just evil. He
just-
goes, I want evil. I want power.
I hear that there's this amazing sword that is the only thing that could stop me if I wake up and actually start doing my shit again. I want that sword.
In terms,
Well, it's not only the sword. He wants the eye.
Oh yeah,
It's the eye of the sword. It's the eye of Thundera that he wants. It's not the sword. He can probably pull out the stone and throw the sword away and go, I don't care.
he is among the big five of my favorite villains of like all time, honestly, being obviously Megatron, Mum Ra, it's Megatron, Mum Ra, Commander Cobra,
Shredder,
Shredder, and who's that last one? Skeletor.
Skeletor.
Skeletor,
Well, Skeletor just had the best laugh, you know.
like that. I know that reboot isn't
That
the best.
doesn't exist.
I'll say this: the one good thing from it is we got Mark Hamill as Skeletor.
His performance as Skeletor is good.
His, you know, Mark Hamill, great
it's
guy.
Mark Hamill.
I even have Mark Hamill's actual comic books that he actually wrote. I actually
really?
found and got those. So I'm a big fan of Mark Hamill, but you know he's a great voiceover actor. Of course, you know, hearing the Joker inside of a giant skeleton's kind of like that's kind of funny. You know,
It's like the same case with him playing Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogy. That it's just like you know that
Him?
the thing that the product is not good, but he is good.
yeah.
I'll-
I mean, he made the movie even though that wasn't the true Luke Skywalker.
he even said it.
Yeah, when the main person that portrayed the character and basically built the character with the creator says this isn't something that he would do. That kind of should notify you that this is incorrect.
So, story. I want to get this out of the way right now. The story is very simple, so I'm able to run through plenty of these episodes
and yet
quickly.
it will take forever to
It's-
explain it.
It's a very interesting beginning. I want to just bring talk about.
Planet's destroyed.
Yeah, the planet's destroyed, and as they're flying away, it's like this this elite group of the Thundercats that were escaping, and Lion-O.
Save the elites. The poor can die.
That's basically
I know,
what
They can't
that's what
afford.
it seemed like.
Yeah, they can't afford a ship. Well, actually, they had other ships, but they were destroyed by the
And
Marauders.
this one was like
Suck
the
it,
royal
peasants! As the ship flies away.
Yeah, this was like the royal ship that like they had as much special materials and all that kind of stuff that they basically used throughout the rest of the show.
I can also add it here. Did you get to watch the time capsule episode?
I didn't.
Okay. There's an episode where Lion-O goes back to the past somehow through the use of the time capsule, and he gets to see the reason why his dad is not on the ship.
Oh God.
His dad guided the ship on the planet.
Huh.
He sacrificed himself in order to help Lion-O and all the other Thundercats escape.
Yeah. Because like while they're on their way out,
Yeah, because
Lion-O
technically
is a
he's alive
child.
later on.
Lion-O is a child during this time.
That's the one thing that always bothered me about the episode. It's like this advanced technology, and you'll have guidance on the ship.
on the ship. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
no,
why
it
would you
doesn't-
guys? I mean, even us now.
Because Lion-O's a kid as they're leaving the planet, but everybody else is the exact same age that they are when they get to Earth. Because, like, when they go to Earth, everybody has to go into cryo because it's so far away, except for... What was his name?
Jaga.
Jaga.
Jaga, because once again, the whole thing of they can't have it on autopilot for long, apparently, I guess. So Jaga, the old man, is like, well, I'm gonna die anyway. I may as well die guiding this ship. We see him die.
Yeah.
Like, in the episode, we see him die. Like,
Oh, yeah.
he actually, like, falls over dead.
Yeah, you see him die in the chair,
As
and
he puts on the autopilot.
finally presses the autopilot.
I guess I'll do it now.
Yeah. Leading to the ship crashing, and then, of all the tanks, Lion-O is the one that his gets broken. And so it leads to him being a full-grown adult by the time that it opens up.
No, they explained it in the episode that it didn't stop the aging process. It slowed it
Yeah.
down. And since he was going through his maturity of teenagehood, he's going to grow.
Yeah.
They were already fully grown, so their share change was not going to be as much. They said that right there at the beginning. He goes, you're going to change. It just slowed it down.
For some reason...
That's why
that-
Jaga...
Only Wily Kid and Wily Cat were the
that's-
ones.
Yeah, I was about to say, the other children just didn't get older when
No,
they were in the pod.
I don't think they're actually kids. I think that's the way they are.
That there's just like a type of cat that's a little bit smaller than everybody else.
Yeah, like difference between a lion and a house cat.
They're definitely treated as kids, but yeah.
They have the most, like, they do things without telling other people, getting into trouble, hijinks and all that kind of stuff. They're those kind of characters.
They have an episode where they release Satan, yeah.
Yeah, they have like a thing 1, thing 2 sort of, like, they just go around causing all sorts of trouble. But they do learn. They do learn.
Well, they also had to age Lino so he could get with Chitara and not be weird.
It's still weird, but less weird.
It's less weird. He's taller.
They worked the love triangle better in 2011. I'll say that.
Well, the
who's
funny thing
wait,
about
who's the love triangle?
Oh, Tigra.
Oh, okay. What happened next?
This basically it's just this whole thing of them setting up on Third Earth of after crashing, and so this gives me a chance to just mention all the different characters of the main crew. Obviously, we've got old elder who's now dead and spirit ghost Jaga,
Ben Kenobi.
Lion-O, leader of the Thundercats, his
Luke Skywalker.
attendant Snarf.
Oh God, Snarf! How have we not talked about Snarf yet?
Yeah, we'll get to Snarf. I do like Snarf.
I don't.
Well, Snarf is. I think I've heard it. I've heard it before said. Snarf is not a coward because a coward would run away from a fight. He keeps going either way. I find cool.
He's just a bitch.
Yeah, he can whine like a bitch, but hey, you can't knock the fact that he will try to help out Lion-O.
Yeah, because he's his pet caretaker. It's
In
such
2011, he's just a pet.
yeah, good, because like in this one he's like
He's just a cat, dude.
He's like a caretaker to Lion-O, and like he's just like, oh, I gotta make sure that I raise you properly.
Man,
So basically, he's like a new modern. He's my spirit animal.
Yeah.
I mean, snarf, irritating little. I mean, I'd throw that little fucker in a blender.
Hey, be glad you didn't meet Snarf's nephew.
Oh God.
Yeah, let's move away from Snarf. Anyway, the
Who else is
other
there?
5 characters end up being Tigra, who is the smartest of them, basically the strategist. You got Chitara, who's the fastest. Panthro, who's the strongest and also the engineer. And Wily Kit and Wily Cat,
Who are the dynamic duo?
who are Wily Kit and Wily Cat.
They just exist just to cause trouble. It's
Yeah.
like, well, the other ones are too smart to cause hijinks, so we gotta have these two.
And
The
then
other
you
ones
have
are
Wily
full-
Kit and Wily Cat, who summon Satan. We'll get to that episode.
Who are literally, we have too many just adults that are very content in their character. Hey, Wily Kit and Wily Cat, get on the ship.
Understand how weird it was for me looking at the list of episodes that we were going to watch, and one of the episodes I end up seeing, I just see like the image they used for it, and that's just Satan.
Okay.
Like it was literally a goat man. Like
Are you
I wonder
talking
how
about?
many-
Are you talking about Hammerhead?
no, I've got it right over here. What was his name?
I think he's going for a world record of saying Satan so many times in
Mongor.
Mongor.
We'll get to Mongor. I thought it was not. Basically, he's like nightmare dude that like he feeds off your fear. and like he pops up, and his appearance is literally he is a goat man,
With
like
horns.
demon.
Yeah, demon.
He's literally a demon of like he was thrown away in a tomb that happened to be broken by Wily Cat.
Now, speaking of tombs, we also have the main antagonist force, which are the mutants. And do you have the list of the 3 mutants? Because when
Slythe.
when they're doing the whole thing, when they're escaping the planet, they're at war with the mutants, and we see a bunch of the same types of mutants that like there's multiples of each one, but just one of each of the types follow the Thundercats to Earth.
Yeah,
and
you
they
have
are
Don't you know?
You have the
There's-
baboon guy.
Yeah, don't
You
you,
got the
know?
lizard
There's
guy?
4.
it's 4.
Yeah, you see 3, but there's actually 4, because we see him like occasionally. So there is Slythe, the leader of the mutants.
And what is he?
He's a lizard man,
There you
and
go.
he's absolutely
Looks like they totally took him from the Lord of the Rings drawings.
Yeah,
because he looks just like one of the the goblins.
Yes. The other one you have Jackal Man, who's just. Can you guess what he is?
He's a jackal. He's the
Yeah.
one that's tan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that's tan.
And he's always they always like use dog terms with him, like when they insult him because they're cats. They always insult him.
For
with
him,
dog.
he's the idiot of the group. Like that's kind of how they portray him. That he's kind of the idiot.
I think the monkey.
Monkeyan is my favorite character.
He's the best because of the voice actor.
I skipped it, but there's apparently an episode where he makes a deal with Mum-Ra to get more power, and he has this whole adventure with just him. I am so curious. I might check out that episode later on.
But the fact that his voice actor is just he always sounds out of breath for the amount of times that he tries to do the that thing that we're trying to do is
Well, he's always running. They always have him running back to tell somebody something. Go tell Mom Rod. He has to run back. It's like, don't these people have cars? You had a spaceship a second ago.
He had a telephone. Like, come on.
Radio.
They're a very
It's like
good.
the 5th episode we watched was with Monkeyan showing up and doing his thing, where it was like man, this place is a pigsty from Slythe because all their slaves are gone, and so Monkeyan, what are we gonna do? And Slythe just
we
we
need
need a woman's touch.
We're not fighting a woman. Well, if you know how to get a woman, monkey, you go find it.
And he goes out and he sees this tribe of Amazonians. He's
Woman! Woman! It literally just goes and finds human women. I thought humans were not even going to be around in this show. But no.
No. Then they got the Amazonian women, and then they got this ones the Japanese type samurai, and then they got the other ones. What is that guy? Forgot his name. The intergalactic big game hunter.
oh my god, I forgot about him. Oh, I've got it right over here. What was his name? Safari Joe.
Safari Joe!
Safari Joe. And his whole thing is to hunt down the Thundercats and going after Lino because he's the leader, so the big game hunter.
The big game, and since he's a lion also. Oh my god. That is the most, that's like some Jumanji shit. Does he have the mustache?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah!
Of course he does. It's Safari
He's got
Joe.
to have the money. He's got to have the mustache, and it's all gray and everything. And I think he has a monocle.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, the quickest way to do it. Mayhem. Picture an Australian poacher. There's Safari Joe.
That's Safari Joe, the yin to Steve Irwin's yang.
Yeah, he probably would have gotten into a fist fight with Steve Irwin.
Over there's the poacher. I'm gonna kick his ass.
The only man.
Crikey.
He's got a gun. Run!
He's got a space gun.
Run!
What's the difference? It's a gun in space.
But this like whole dynamic of characters, and then like they
Slime
literally like crash
mutants are
on the
great.
planet. Their ship gets consumed by sand. They find Mum-Ra's pyramid, walk in, and Mum-Ra's just like, I need slaves. We're not gonna serve you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. We'll serve you.
Well,
They're
that
still
shows
stubborn
Mama
about it, though.
definitely knows how to negotiate.
Yeah. They still negotiate about it. That's like the best part. That in my eyes, I think of them actually a little bit better than Bebop and Rocksteady.
Oh yeah, they're definitely mentally more acute to definitely better than Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, because they're
Bebop
just like,
and
all right,
Rocksteady,
boss.
yeah, they're definitely just two idiots that happened to be a pig and ran out.
Meanwhile,
One
go do this thing. Why the fuck should we do that?
One of my favorites is this whole thing where Lion-O has to go out and fight Mum-Ra, and Mum-Ra's like, "Good, I'll be able to kill him." So he walks right over to the mutants. "Hey, go kill him!" And they're just sitting there. "Isn't this your trial to do? Isn't this like your job, dude? Like, we're really trying to just hang out for the day. Like,
He's got the
isn't that-
sword. We know that he beats us.
He's not coming for us."
It's you that he wants.
And he's like, get out of my basement, you bastards."
Yeah, get out of my D&D basement.
No more lays for you.
No more Funyuns.
There's now
Fine, we'll go kill him.
There's now a cap on the electricity.
So yeah, Mum-Ra, one of the best of. Sometimes he can be the most intimidating guy ever, but it's like for a minute during the episode. In all fairness, like his first appearance is my favorite, where like he pops in, he flies down as like his big form,
His buff form, yeah.
and he just beats the shit out of Lion-O for a quick minute. Lion-O pops up his gauntlet to show him a mirror, and it scares him and launches him away.
It is so
It's a
interesting.
minute.
Yeah, it's literally an exact minute that he's powered up, and then
There's also
goes
no
back
music in that scene.
down. Yeah, they're just fighting. That's the thing I want to say about this show too, is that this one has the main protagonist and antagonist of the show have the most fights the most often out of anyone.
They're the definition of on-site.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't just send everybody out to do their job for them. They're true ones. Like we're gonna fight each other. Not like He-Man and Skeletor, and all the rest of them. I would say Optimus Prime and Megatron are close.
They're
with it
close ones, but they're
because-
more strategic with their stuff. And
Yeah, because Megatron doesn't care about the Autobots too much. It's more about just getting power and getting home. He really doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Mum-Ra and Lion-O, they fight so much.
Because they literally just hate each other. And of course, you find out in the past that it was Lion-O's ancestor that defeated Mum-Ra the first time.
Oh, that's who
Oh,
defeated
yeah.
him. Okay.
It's always a lineage thing.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, when it comes to Mum-Ra, the other thing that they kind of play around with throughout the show is that he sometimes will just transform into a normal person of like some random variety.
Yeah, like
and it's
polymorphs.
like he turns into
But it always has the same name. It's like nobody ever figures that out. It's like when he turns into the Puma. I'm Puma. It's like, I wonder who you are. Now, I know this is made for kids, so they don't want to make it too much where you have to do forethought, but you're kind of thinking going, man, the Thundercats are stupid.
There's an episode of Thundercats where it's like, okay, we need to go to the spirit world because, and I shit you not, this four-armed goblin dude kidnapped Jaga in the spirit world.
What?
Actual episode. And so they're like, I know somebody to talk to. We'll talk to something Raw, the medium. She'll be able to send you to the spirit world. And Mum-Ra watching, little do they know that I am that Ra.
That it's me!
And so goes in, and it's just this medium woman. And he's
Fortune
like,
teller.
she's like, okay, I'll send you to the spirit world, but you won't be able to come back. Okay, got it. Okay, you're being sent to the spirit world. You tricked me.
I'm going to kill you instead. How dare you trick me like this?
Yeah, it's just like every different incarnation of himself, it's always ends in Raw. And it's like, I would not trust anybody with that name. It's like, no. No.
Was that a hint waiting in disguise for that one episode where Tigra was constantly being drugged
When
by
Tigra
Mum-Ra?
gets high,
Yeah,
yes.
he gets getting drugged by
the
Mum-Ra.
episode where Tiger got an addiction.
Oh, yeah, he keeps on getting drugged. What was it, like some kind of flower?
It was a
think is?
flower, like, dryad thing, but it was literally just Mum-Ra, so, like, Tigra would just walk up to Mum-Ra, dude, you got another one for me?
I love being able to
Junkie.
mention these random episodes because of the fact that so quickly I could just be like, and mark that episode gone.
Yep.
Because, like, the Jaga episode I just mentioned,
Yep.
how does he get out of the spirit world? He finds fucking Merlin.
Merlin?
Like, just, he's
Merlin
not
should-
named Merlin, but he's just straight up Merlin.
He's
No,
just the Grand Wizard?
there's Merlin in the show because there's the episode where Mum-Ra gets a hold of Excalibur.
What?
And he
So
actually,
it's Excalibur versus the Sword of Omens?
yep, and the Sword of Omens gets its ass kicked.
Because it's Excalibur.
because it's Excalibur, but when Mum-Ra tries to take it, when he stupidly stabs it into the ground,
Creating the sword in the stone.
creating the sword in the stone, well, it gets pulled out by Merlin, as Merlin pops out of the sword and goes, "You really, you can't use this sword for nefarious means. It's a sword of good. Nice try, though." And Merlin sends him running with his tail between his legs. Typical Mum-Ra, flying up.
As soon as anybody has any sort of doesn't let Mum-Ra take a single step forward, he just runs back.
Yeah, and then he tries to give the sword to Lino, but Lino turns it down. And they heal the sword of Omens because he cracks the eye with it.
Oh yeah, the sword of Omens gets destroyed, injured, and it's a sword, but I know it's not alive, but it gets injured a lot.
Yeah, the Master Sword gets injured a lot.
But it is it's like
actually no, it was just the once.
Well, I think it is kind of like a living entity of some kind because later on they're able to push out a real live black cat out of it.
Yeah. It's so weird and mystical, and then it's equal parts science fantasy and science fiction.
Yep.
It's interesting.
So in order to run down these episodes very quickly, because some of these are very quick.
It's
Burbles. New workforce. That's all it is. We help
They
out
build
the
the
Burbles.
castle.
We don't want to fight.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we've got these giant fucking giants coming in and stealing all our stuff.
So we shoot them with pea shooters.
Yay,
Our
you saved us.
saviors!
Our saviors will build your mansion.
Okay.
Okay.
Works for me.
Brute men. Literally just a race of slaves, basically.
Well,
they're
they
were kidnapped. They were
They're like moose
underdeveloped
cows or
cavemen.
horses or something.
Cavemen, yeah.
They're like cow cavemen, basically. And so they come in and they free them.
They free them
excluding
because the mutants want to have their own slave force to build their own castle in the same way that the Burbles did for the Thundercats.
Yes, it does. It is weird when they're suddenly oh, I also have this bomb that makes people really aggressive if I throw it, and so keeps throwing it at the brute men. So they're just like, it's essentially throwing some cocaine at homeless people.
In order for them to do your dirty work.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had a smoke bomb of
here's some angel
heroin.
dust and some bath salts. That's a real good idea, dude. Make the worst force that's stronger than us come and kill us.
All right.
Enrage
That's what
them.
happens. The best part of it's just we'll throw it at them so they can kill the Thundercats. Why are they going our way?
Why are we still in the same room with them?
I mean, even the Egyptians were smarter than that. They gave them beer. Knock them out, man. What the hell?
You give them downers, not uppers.
Then you've got the warrior maidens, basically Amazonians.
Yep.
And
Just
their
literal humans.
Their entire episode is basically that Tigra goes into this one cave of oh man, I need to find Lionel, and then doesn't realize until it's too late that he becomes really old in the cave.
That it just ages him. It's just a cave that just ages you.
Cave.
But the cave is called the Cave of Ages, so I would maybe
avoid that.
And then Chitara
And so-
just runs in, grabs him, and takes him out.
Like
and
she's so fast.
And then
They just
we
take
have
him
to put
to
the Fountain of Youth.
the Fountain of Youth. Literally just the Fountain of Youth. And so the warrior maidens save them and become allies. That's basically the episode. Next episode, Tower of Traps.
Oh yeah.
Where I'll say I remember noting it down of wait, what? Where the normal weird-faced person shows up and it's oh, Wily Kit and Wily Cat helped them out. And then he starts talking, I'm just is that supposed to be an Indian accent or what are you? What are you? I'm going to a wedding. What are you doing right now?
Please stay far away from that tower over there that has a bunch of untold riches in it. Don't go there, delinquents.
I just thought that was funny. It just goes away. I'm just man, I need to find the rings for this basically Indian wedding. Goodbye. Okay.
And then it turns out he's not a transformation of Mum-Ra. He's literally
unimportant. He's gone.
He's literally just a guy who told them to not go into this tower, but then they go into the tower and get trapped in it.
Full of traps.
And then they get the rings, and then it's just he's not evil.
Most notable thing for that episode, I will say, is the end fight with the gargoyles of that episode. I lost my shit because it would be a simple punch, and then the gargoyles would explode.
Yes.
They'd just be. It would literally be. They'd fall apart. Dust is gone.
Well, you know what level 1 constructs are. Weak as hell.
That's what it felt like. Of just like
Yeah,
we're
you
being
can't,
overwhelmed.
you can't have level 99 creatures all the time. You know, this isn't Bloodborne or Dark Souls. You know, get killed by just a random guy with a cleaver.
They're expensive, okay?
Yeah.
Imagine punching somebody so hard they become talcum powder, and then a moment later, it's just like, oh man, they're overwhelming us.
Well, you do.
Yeah, all the talcum powder. Yeah.
Well, you do realize that gargoyles are actually made of stone.
I know. Well, these guys became talcum powder with how quickly they just exploded.
There were more. It's like they're made out of stone, and Lionel punches boulders in half every single morning.
Yeah, so we're good.
Yeah. Groon. This episode, I remember tripping out because I thought it was actually kind of fun, where basically these monk sheep are walking around, and they just happen to go down into this underground tomb, and they break whatever seal is down there, and release an ancient warlord, the spirit of an ancient warlord that goes out and goes after the Thundercats.
It's Genghis Khan.
His name is Groon, and he immediately goes to the Thundercats, steals all the Thundarium, and after he's done with that, it's just like, oh, I'll be able to fight Jaga later. It just leaves, and they're all like, what the fuck was that? And get to find out from Jaga, apparently he's a Thundercat from the way while back, who was banished from Thundera, went to Third Earth, conquered everything, and died.
Well, I mean, you know, if you're going to go out, go with a bang, go out with a bang, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, you only got one shot, you know, might as well kick everybody's ass. You know, I'm going to die anyways, might as well rule over this.
Might as well make lemonade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what ends up happening for this is it actually leads to this cool thing where, like, okay, there's only one thing we can do to fight a ghost. Another ghost. Quick, Jaga, take the Sword of Omens.
Okay.
It's this massive. It is a massive ghost fight in the sky where the way they describe they're describing it the entire time of it's like watching the gods fight in the sky, thundering out, and meanwhile it's like one of the regular fights.
And I imagine it like being like really far away, and you just see everybody just looking at them, and it's just, everybody got popcorn?
Yeah, and so it leads to basically Lion-O just like, I'll give you my strength in order to fight him, and so gives him his strength, and he wins the fight, obviously. But it's just
No,
weird.
the good guys win the fight. No.
What? It also had this one funny point of just like, okay, you've bested me. Will you be my friend now? But of course, reaches down. I've got the Sword of Omen, and the Sword of Omen eats him.
Ah, it does that.
The Sword of Omen just ate Groon.
All right.
And he's like, oh, how did you know that he would betray you?
So that's where
'Cause
they
he's a
got
villain?
the idea for the Marvels movie. They got it from the Thundercats episode.
That's amazing.
All right, now talk about retro here.
So, Doomgaze.
The Doomgaze.
The Doomgaze is a wild episode.
I saw that one where basically there's just this ancient Egyptian goddess woman.
The goddess is trapped throughout that she's trying to get there, and she's got the doom gaze that can make men turn into anything. Basically, there is a Egyptian goddess that has that. She was married to the bird one.
Horus.
Horus, thank you.
So
The bird one.
Isis.
I don't think, is it Isis? No, Isis is the one that did God Ra, made him go to his knees. But anyway, there's this one goddess, I can't remember her name, and so Horus went down there, got her freed by all these different spirits of demons. I don't know the full tale, but anyway, she had the look that could make anybody fall in love with her, man, creature, whatever.
Yeah, and Mum-Ra was just like, I want that, and it's like, do you want to date Lion-O? Like, what is this?
No,
like,
the best part is when she pops out and like you see her about to pop out and fucking Lion-O are just like, oh, okay.
yeah, Lion-O's the only one that gets like mesmerized by her.
Yeah, well, I love the way he says it too. He goes, "Wow, she's really pretty." I know, and he's like, "Well, in an evil way, of course, but still."
In an evil way, of course.
But still, I wouldn't. I need to tap that. Yeah.
Luckily, the Doomgaze doesn't work on Chitara because she's a woman.
Because I'm a woman! And it's just, like, that's literally what they say
Yeah,
in the
no, and it's like,
episode.
what?
Yeah. Next episode, we get basically they're running out of Thundrillium, But luckily, a meteorite hit the ground
That's
in the
convenient.
snowy area. So this actually is another one of my favorite episodes where they go into the snowy area, and it just so happens that the Yeti men, basically,
Yeah.
I swear to God, sometimes 80s cartoons are like every Japanese RPG. There's always a snow area.
There's a snow level. There's always a desert
Always.
level.
There's always a desert and a snow level. It's like, great, I'm either melting or freezing my balls off.
and so
Sometimes both.
we get to see the Yeti men, where basically Lion-O comes in alongside Snarf and is like, hey, we want that Thundrillium. And
You
they
gotta fight me
answer-
for it.
They are just straight up either Mongolian or General Asian, with their real big distinction on honor. Of like the way they're dressed reminds me of like the depictions of Mongolians.
Where
while
they have the
way they
fur and all
talk
that,
is
yeah.
like traditional Japanese. And so they're just like, if you want the meteor, you must fight me. Got it. And so they fight each other, and it's this actually kind of interesting fight. Really well animated, surprisingly.
A lot of the fights are never just like random swinging around or punching, swinging the sword around or just punching or anything like that. It's an actual like fight. Every single fight feels different from each other.
Yeah. So
They probably reuse animation, but still, it feels different enough.
leads to this.
Oh, yeah, well, it's like Lino's jumping. He always does that same sideways somersault. Every time. It's like, Lino.
He
you know,
launches the computer.
it's like, find a different move. People might see that one coming.
I can't control it. The animators don't want to change it.
It gave me another one of his powers that I forgot he had, basically, of he can control any cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when he's fighting the Yeti guy, he just controls his saber-toothed cat, basically, and it's just like, you will listen to me, and so he just stops and launches the Yeti guy into a cavern. Or launches him into a, crack in the ground, and so Lion-O has to go and save him. And it leads to this whole thing of, like, you've earned my respect. Okay, you can have the meteor now. Now you don't have to worry about your energy problems.
Meanwhile, what was the thing that he said that in order to earn his respect was at the beginning? To kill him!
Yes.
That's weird.
Well, I didn't really mean it. Like, you know, more along the lines like, I kill you and, you know, we're good.
And then I keep my stuff.
Yeah, I keep my stuff. But at the end of the day, I really don't care about a giant falling rock.
I've got an episode. This next episode, I don't know if I love it or if I hate it.
Which one?
This episode is the episode where they go for the time capsule.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't even have to mention much of the time capsule episode itself. This is where they go to get the time capsule. So, reading from my notes, first off, Lion-O is troubled because he doesn't remember anything of Thundera, even though he was 12 when he left. And somehow
Weren't his
everybody
memories
else,
like fading or something?
I guess.
I
Like
guess,
being
but
in the
everybody else has
cryopod.
memories of it. And so that's the part that got me of like, especially thinking that Wily Kit and Wily Cat were children. That's what I thought at the time.
Yeah.
So seeing that, I was just like, you were 12. How do you not remember?
Early stages of Alzheimer's, great.
Yeah, early stages of Alzheimer's.
Early
yeah.
onset Alzheimer's.
Man, how am I going to be able to know the story of Thundera? Find a time capsule. Thank you, Jaga. So they go
Thank you, old man who lived on Thundera all of his life.
Yeah, and could have told me everything I needed to know in ghost form, so I don't have to go look for a stupid time capsule.
Risk my life.
So we end up going to like everybody splits up to try to find it. Lion-O's adventure, where he goes off and he has to cross this lake. Just so happens he has to be careful when crossing this lake because there is a black widow shark.
What?
Yes, in the Lake of Despair. And so
Because
he's
everybody
like,
knows spiders love water. I think there's only like one species that lives in it.
At the same time, you have, I'm not kidding, you have Tigra, who is down with the mole men trying to see if they know anything about the time capsule.
Dig.
We have to dig. We have to dig.
And while he's doing that, he sees a bigger mole man walking around, hitting them with whips of, go, dig, go! And
Back to work!
all he does is beat the shit out of him, and then the dude runs away, dig, and he runs away. But the moments keep digging anyway.
Yeah, the
And
Tiger's
then
just
it
like, you're
moves on
free.
from there.
Tiger's just like, you're free now. Dig.
So Tiger's entire thing was not necessary at all.
But here's
I don't
the thing.
understand that part.
But here's the thing. What is Tiger's weapon? A whip. He's where he belongs.
No.
A new form of, I might get paid for this one.
How will I cross the Lake of Despair? And that's when the Moon Druid lady pops in, who I don't fucking know. And she's just like,
Well, you can have this bridge and you will be able to cross. Just make sure not to hit it too hard.
just don't attack it from where you are, or it will break.
Why would I do
so
that?
he crosses the bridge, and halfway through crossing the bridge, he sees the spider shark pop up and start biting it. He's fine, but he's like, I must attack it, and so he stabs down.
Oh my
breaks
god.
the bridge, and the moon lady is just like, well, shit, and she dips. She just runs away. I'm like, oh shit.
Well, it ain't her fight. What's she supposed to deal with? The dumb cat?
I did all I could do. I told him literally not to do that.
Yeah, so Lion-O loses his one defense and almost dies, so he has to basically jump over to the other side. He makes it, he's all fine. Panthro at the same time discovers man crabs. He's looking for the time capsule, and man crabs erupt out of the ground and fight him, and he beats them.
Man crabs.
Cut away from that.
Man.
Yeah, I know there's something in there. We can
Man
tell you. Yeah,
crabs.
man crabs. Yes.
Man crabs.
Those are quite a problem in certain areas.
Especially in Third
And so,
Earth.
he's still trying to look for it, and what he ends up finding is, he finally uses the Sword of Omens. You know, the thing that fucking shows you where something is. And so he finally uses it, and it just zooms in on a cave, like 100 feet away from him.
There it is.
And it's like, yeah, there it is. Like, perfectly plain as day, the time capsule.
I found it,
Untouched
everybody.
by time. Like,
I love about this time capsules. Most of them do it by high school students, so you know he's in for a treat. He goes, "Oh, great!
yeah. And
Who's this
so-
Megan, and why is she crushing on this guy named Chris? What?
He goes to the cave. How are we going to, how are we going to get it? It's like right there, so we can easily just grab it and leave, right? No, it's being guarded. By what? A fucking caveman.
Just a
A
caveman.
regular ass caveman.
It's the first human man we've seen, and he's just a caveman.
He sees him and he goes, a caveman, which I immediately wrote down the note. They know what cavemen are? And so it's like,
On a planet that they've never been to?
And have never encountered any other species other than mutants and themselves.
I'll admit this is my favorite part of the episode, though, where he goes over to him and he's like, well, I'll have to beat him in a fight of strength, in a battle of strength. And so the caveman, clears off a rock and he just goes like this.
Arm wrestling!
For an arm wrestling competition.
Arm wrestle for the most valuable thing.
They make this so well animated and so dramatically drawn that I couldn't believe I was actually they specifically show the arms tensing up the muscles and the veins popping up on the muscles as they're going in for the arm wrestling, and all the Thundercats finally show up. And it's we need to help him out. No, this is his challenge. He must beat him.
Every single time they do that.
It's a one-on-one.
It's a one-on-one. He needs to get himself out of this. He needs to learn about this. We'll just be the cheerleaders.
Lion-O, of course, wins. It's all epic for him. And this is also the point where, forgot to mention earlier, of Wily Kit and Wily Cat, for some reason adding this part of the story of they were flying on their hoverboard things, and they went over the Lake of Despair, and the shark spider jumped up and took Wily Kit's board, and so ate her board.
And her legs also, right?
Almost. She almost dies. But, so they both arrive on one board, and Panthro's just like, what the fuck? Where's my other board that I made you guys?
You're gonna need to make another one.
Oh, we flew over on the board, and something ate it. And Chitara's just like, well, sucks for you, takes it and leaves. I don't know if I love or hate this episode. After everything that I saw from that episode, I was like, I don't know how to feel about this episode. It's both the greatest and worst thing I've ever seen.
And
Of so many plot holes of why didn't you use the sword earlier to find it?
because I needed to earn it on my own. And
So
then I was
that's that
100 feet
episode.
away from it.
Once again, this is also the point when I realized, man, the animation is weirdly good. And so, up next is the Warbot episode, which is the time capsule episode
Okay.
of...
And
so
like
the
the
whole time capsule thing.
technically finale sort of thing, because it's an 80s cartoon that didn't really have a finale.
Weirdly, no. So, to get
the
into
finale
this.
episodes are the Lino's atonement episodes. There's
Oh.
like 4 of them.
So,
We're gonna get to that after this.
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Warbot episode, basically it was this whole thing of like, we've got plans for a Warbot machine, the mutants, and we'll
Yeah.
be able to use it against the Thundercats. And so Lion-O ends up traveling back in time, using the time capsule, to see the destruction of Thundera. And he sees his dad, and he sees him, and I shit you not, the mutants come up of like, well, we need you to give it to us before the planet's destroyed. I won't do it. We need you to do it. And so Lion-O beats them, and they run away. And after they get beat, he goes, I can tell you're a brave warrior. I'm your son. Ha ha ha. Anyway.
That would be weird.
Well, that was weird. And so he just says, well, I still trust you because you saved my life. Here's the plans for the Warbot.
I got the Warbot now.
He has the plans for the Warbot and how to beat it, which leads to him going back to the modern day. Everybody's fighting the Warbot. I swear to God, there's a line where they say, it's like a nightmare version of Scythe. Which, no, it's not. It's like a horse thing.
Just
Yeah.
did you just call him a horse face? He'll kill you for that.
Oh, also, I forgot to mention that Lion-O had a dog, apparently, on Thundera that they show off, named Kano.
Just a dog on
Yeah.
this cat planet, and then he also
Literally
had
a dog.
Snarf.
Yeah, he had Snarf, and he also had a dog.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Kano stayed on the planet, so he's probably dead.
So he's definitely dead.
Yeah,
I would hate to be that dog.
yeah.
Like, imagine the hellhole for a dog or a cat planet.
Everything's cats. It's
Lion-O's-
just like the terrible play.
Lion-O's dad lost his eyes, like he was blind, possibly because of some war with the mutants. Who knows? He says bye to his father, comes back, and it turns out the weak spot, as you see it stomping on the Thundercats base, you see it plain as day. The weak spot is just its foot.
Oh, it's on the foot. So if it got a
is
splinter?
the equivalent of like Phineas and Ferb of like the self-destruct button is on his foot, and you just press it, and then it just explodes.
Oh my god.
That is that episode.
I was half expecting there to be Trojans inside of it.
So anyway, you think, yeah, you're right. Just something like
Robot
else. I'm
doesn't
like,
need
oh,
condoms.
if anything happens to the robot, then out. Yeah, no. Anyway,
Time to pull out!
Lion-O's
Never pull out!
All the way!
Lion-O's anointment trials.
The rhythm method does not work!
This is a trial for Lion-O to prove himself as Lord of the Thundercats, and he has 5 trials he has to go through. First of which is with Panthro. He's not allowed to use his gauntlet or the sword.
Oh, really?
Yes, and so with Panthro, it's him proving his strength. And that includes him running through thorn bushes,
Ow.
catching a bird to avoid a lake of acid, and...
That's what bothered me about it. It's like, oh, this is a test of strength. That's not strength, that's dexterity.
Yeah, dexterity, agility, and all that kind of stuff. Strength is... I guess the arm wrestling thing really did show off his strength.
Yeah,
So he's
that's a
just like,
strength one, or, wrestling or something, physical strength, not I can catch a bird, that's dexterity.
those sound like things that Chitara would give him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to battle the Great Void, whatever that was, escape the mountain vortex, which was, I'm not kidding you, a mountain that sucked stuff. It sucks stuff in. And so the way that he beat
Where
it
is
was...
this mountain? I need to go find this mountain.
No. He rode a giant wooden plate over to the mountain and smacked it on the mountain and then just walked around it. And then the wood broke. And then finally he gets to fight... there were some crabmen that showed up again, and so he just beat the shit out
He
of them.
got crabs!
Once again, crabmen. And so finally he gets to fight Panthro. It's actually a really good fight. It does get weird, though, towards the end, because, once again, he's got to fight him in combat. He's got to beat Panthro. But they don't want to show it too much of him fighting his friend. So what they do is, mid-combat, some boulders are about to roll down on this village that's nearby, and so Panthro catches it, and he, holds it back, leading to, he gets all tired, so Lion-O holds it back and stops it. And so he's like, "You've proved your strength. Here is my medallion." And he takes his belt piece and just hands it to him. And it's apparently magnetic because it goes right onto Lion-O's thing.
So he's basically collecting
He's got
gym badges?
Yes, he's got gym badges. And so...
So it's like, like the Boy Scouts, you collect your merit badge, your strength badge,
Exactly.
your fire badge,
Avoiding the suck
your
mountain.
tent badge, Suck Mountain.
Yes.
Again, I'm going to need
I
the
wonder
GPS
who
coordinates.
works there.
But
I'm going to need the
so
coordinates for that mountain.
your next trial, you must beat Chitara in a race. I don't think that's happening. And so, next episode, we get the whole thing of the mutants keep trying to interrupt it. But obviously, everybody else handles that because it's forbidden for any interruptions.
It's forbidden!
Yes. And so he meets up and
But didn't the other one just get interrupted by the boulders?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if it's people, that's bad.
Oh, okay.
So Lion-O is like, well, the only way to get there is using the dangerous path. I'll go on the dangerous path then. And he meets up with the warrior women who follow him for a solid 3 minutes, asking, "Lion-O, what's happening?" What
the fuck is
and he's
going
like,
on?
"I can't tell you. I can't tell you." Over and over again.
What the fuck?
For 2 minutes.
Well, it sounds like they were married already.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. Just keep on nagging.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. Go away.
And so he makes a boat and he goes down the river by the tribal women, by the warrior women, getting attacked by random tribal men, by the way.
Oh, God.
Random, either Native American or African tribal men. Just done.
Oh, blow darts. Oh.
Yeah,
Blow darts too.
Random
Great.
dudes with blow darts, and then they just dip.
Jesus.
And it's like, okay, never mention that again, I guess. And he gets up there, and he finally meets up with Chitara, and so they have a bit 5 miles left, basically, to run. Mm-hmm. And so they start running, and obviously Chitara's ahead of them. But the one thing I thought was kind of cool is they actually kept consistent that cheetahs, they're not endurance animals. The whole thing
They're
is
burst running.
They're burst runners.
Yeah.
So that's what Chitara is. So she can't do the whole 5 miles as quick as she can. She can do the 2 and then slow down.
Mm.
And so that's how Lion-O wins. He beats her.
Okay.
But it's so messed up when he just Chitara, you're full of shit. There's no way I beat you. You must have been holding back. And she's just like, shut the fuck up, Lion-O.
I totally wasn't.
Oh,
Here's my
this is
badge and
This
go!
is like the whole tortoise and the hare story.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah. And
The
so
lion and the cheetah.
this is supposed to be 5 episodes in a row. Mm-hmm. It is not. For some reason, it was interrupted by, and I shit you not, one of the episodes that interrupted it is just this whole thing of, help out the Tuscadors.
Yeah, though I just skip that episode.
Yeah, it's just
That's what it was. I'll be honest. I read it and I was like, oh, go ahead and watch this one. Done.
But what's his next challenge? What's the next trial?
Wily Kit and Wily Cats.
They made one for him. Try and survive us.
This episode was weird as well. Where they go into a maze, they have to go through, and obviously there's all kinds of tricks and traps for Lion-O. But also there's fucking gremlin men.
Hell yeah.
Random gremlin men who, every time they show up,
It's your people's fault that we're like this.
these giant bug eyes. These horrifying eyes.
So call 'em?
Imagine if Dobby was animated in the style of, the older Hobbit movie.
I don't like you saying that.
Yeah, there you go. And so that's what they all look like. And so they're just like,
Well, because we can't see anymore, we need you to read this book to us.
and that's their entire thing of they literally just kidnapped Lion-O.
The little engine that could was an engine. Just starts reading that.
They kidnap him, but luckily Monkeyan just shows up and he's just like, well, my job is to mess everything up just because I'm there, so I'm going to blow up their books. So he just blows up their books, and Lion-O's like, well, I'm dipping. Bye.
Goodbye.
And he leaves, and as he's finally running away, he gets to meet up with Wily Kit and Wily Cat again, and they show off their whole thing of they've got these capsules that can do basically anything.
What?
They have capsules that they use that it's the kind of thing of, I think it's like if they hit water, they just do whatever. And so
Oh
they
yeah,
make,
they got their own their magic ball thingies. You know, they just throw them out there and they could do pretty much anything. Tie people up, do this, do that. Just throw it out there.
and
They-
apparently they
Lionel's
can
just
also make inflatable dinosaurs.
Lionel's just standing in the water, and they're just like, oh, okay, lithium.
Got it.
That's exactly what it felt like because they throw it in, they throw the stuff at Lionel, and it makes 2 dinosaurs.
That made me
Dinosaurs.
That made me sad.
Yeah.
Very, very sad. Yes.
And so he fights the dinosaurs, and he they both dinosaurs have the same thing where like they cut their neck and then it balloon, so they fly off. And then as he's all messed up from that, leads to this whole thing where I think it was like Wily Kit is the one to almost fall into lava as like they're trying to do their whole thing. Like, she trips and goes down this whole thing and almost falls into lava, and it's like, okay, somebody has to help her. They run in, and Lionel also almost falls into this pit. And it's like, oh my god, we're supposed to help each other. And the Gremlin Men, we'll help you, because you saved at least one of our books. And they just leave, and Lionel's like, well, I guess I beat the maze. Looking traumatized as shit.
And then, why the cat? That's fair enough.
No, they're like, well, we can still run forward. And he's just basically like, rope. Takes their thing. Bye.
So,
That's how that episode felt. It was weird, and it fit those 2.
yeah.
And the last 2 were Tigra.
Tigra.
Is this one. Tigra's a psychic.
When did this happen?
Near the last episode?
But like when he just got this ability just at this point. So these trials are literally just
the tiger tribe has always had these abilities.
Oh, okay.
The ability to, and I shit you not,
They have foresight.
No, you'd think it'd be foresight. No, they can project images into a person's mind.
What the fuck? So he had like a dream battle or whatever?
Yes. And so he can make illusions, apparently, of... And I lost my shit when it was this one, of just like, okay, Lionel, are you ready? You must get all the way through without, like, all the way through by the end of the day. Or else I win. Hey, look over there! And Lionel looks over, and then Tigra just runs away. He disappeared!
Look over there!
Illusions. And so...
What a great illusionist.
Yeah.
I almost believed it.
I'm not even gonna lie, that was fucking hilarious. Of, like, I lost it when it's just like, look over there! Runs away. Oh my god! But, so, he uses his mind powers to mess with not just Lionel, but also the mutants who are now trying to interrupt again.
Oh god.
Of, like, for the mutants, he made, like, a bridge for them that disappeared the moment they tried to use it. And so they just fall into a river and they're like, shit! And it leads to this whole thing of he forces a like snowstorm on Lionel. Of just like, you envision a snowstorm. It's not cold. It's not cold.
When you feel warm, you have hypothermia.
Yeah.
We all have hypothermia.
Yeah. And so Lionel gets lost, and like he's trying to make his way. He gets lost in this snow cave, and he like falls into this little hole, but like halfway. And so the snow tiger from earlier with the Yeti man shows up and steals his belt.
Oh my god.
And the mutants, they saw the belt and were like, oh, that means he's dead. We're fine. Chill, guys.
And they just leave.
They just leave. They're
Well,
like,
I mean, why continue looking for something that's dead?
Huh?
Yeah, no, especially because they see the tiger holding his belt and they're just like, well, he was eaten. Oh, well.
Eaten by a tiger.
And so
I'll be doing the same thing. Okay, stop for lunch.
they move on. And obviously, Snow Tiger, so it's all fine because, like, Lionel just like, cat, I'm good now. And so he takes it and he finally makes his way back to Tigra. And it leads to, I think I have it written down. Yeah. Fucking Tigra uses PTSD beam.
And just makes Lionel remember. God damn it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Does Lionel finish remembering, and then punch Tiger in the face for that?
It's the kind of thing of just like shove in all bad memories ever into Lionel's head of like, I'll make you see your one true fear, What's my one true fear? Of being afraid. I'm not
Ding!
kidding.
Leave me alone! Ah!
Yeah, that was a big thing in the 80s. It was like the thing you fear the most is fear itself.
Yeah. And so it's like, well, you won. Yeah, thanks for the PTSD, Tigra. Good
Punch.
job. Here's my badge.
If one of my friends did that to me, where they had psychic powers and gave me PTSD, I would take the thing, go thanks, and then deck him across the face.
Oh, I do all along the lines of now I'm the leader. Now you're fired.
Yeah, you get. To
I have the
fuck
ability
off.
to put images in your head. I put the image of every memory that's ever traumatized you ever.
You ever seen
die.
your mother on her deathbed?
Ah!
Yay!
Trial 5, Mumra.
Oh, Mum, I was guaranteed. You know who I was guessing that you would say? Snarf.
Could you have imagined? Well, the entire time, I will say Snarf is in, like, the control room watching of, like, every time that he gets a badge, the Sword of Omen lights up.
Ah, okay.
And so Snarf is just watching him. I think he's gonna fail. No, I trust him, but this is not looking good. And then lights up. Ah!
Another $1,000 for me.
Yeah. And so
It's like Mario Brothers and the coins. Ding, 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 ding.
I'm rich. We're rich, Lino.
yeah, trial 5. We got Mumra. You have to beat Mumra in a fight.
Ah.
Like you have to vanquish your enemy. And so he goes in and it's like minions go. Why? Oh,
Fuck. I forgot to pay you this month.
and then Jaga arrives and he's like,
The check's
like,
bounced
no.
again.
What's a check?
And then Jaga shows up for Lionel, and he's like, no, you should stay here. Why? And he moves on. They both have the, literally, I wrote it down as, minions, go. Why? Jaga, stay. Why?
Fuck.
That's what it felt for like 3 minutes.
Could you stop being so cryptic and just spell it out of what we need to do?
Go.
So,
Where?
Lionel's being chased by the, all the mutants. And as he's being chased, he falls down a hole. I don't know why this is part of the episode. He falls down a hole, he goes into these ancient Egyptian ruins, and he meets a cat god.
Yep.
Bast.
Basically, he meets Bast. And Bast is just like, no one prays to me anymore. I've grown weak.
I'm a cat person.
Very cool story. Anyway, I'm gonna go fight Mumra. Is
That's-
that the door to Mumra? Yes. Okay, goodbye.
That's rough, buddy.
He just leaves.
Sucks to be you.
Mayhem, that character never shows up again.
Just a random Egyptian
God.
cat god.
Yeah, well, nobody prays to a cat anymore.
We just watch
Even
him
the
on the
cat
internet.
people don't pray to cats.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I can always imagine just a bunch of random cat traits that they have, where anytime Lionel is like bored with someone like monologuing to him, he's just slowly moving a glass of water off of the table. Just.
The best way to beat the Thundercats is with a laser light.
Why do you think the way to summon them is the giant
The
beam in the
beam
sky?
So, Lionel enters the river Styx.
What? That's
And-
not in Egypt.
I know. And so he sees the boatman and he's like, hey, boatman, can we go? Okay, but die. But why, though? And he melts the boatman.
Wow.
There's so many people that are just like explained dead.
I'm sorry, but that's literally what happens. Oh, he's like, okay, but die. But why, though? And so he pushes him into the water and the boatman just dies. he melts in the water.
Oh God.
Well, that's one way to do it. It's like instead of paying the toll, it's like I don't got no gold on me.
No,
It's like,
you.
You know,
And
kind of
so-
wish they should do that to all debt collectors. Just like, boom.
And then they go, "Why did you kill him, debt collector?" Oh,
Okay, yeah. It's
that-
justified.
It then leads all the way to Mumra. And it's like, they get their final battle.
when did I get a river in my
Mumra
castle?
can't die. Remember that. Mumra is literally unkillable. That's his entire thing.
Yep.
And so they're
Unless
just
you bust up his coffin.
Holy shit! They keep bouncing around the room, and he throws them. He throws them at the coffin, and it breaks just little. And he goes, "Oh!"
He's like Voldemort.
I know, it breaks his coffin, and then what does Lino do in his infinite wisdom? To defeat Mumra, he picks up the coffin. He's like, oh, no, it's end of you. And he throws it where? Into the pool where he gets all of his power.
All the magic. all of the magic pool that he just goes, put it in here.
It supposedly looks like he kills him. He dissolves.
Yeah, everything just explodes. No, I'm not kidding when I said I laughed so fucking hard when I saw Mum-Ra throw Lion-O at his phylactery.
What statement is that?
Liches.
What word is that?
Liches. The reason why liches never die in stories is because they have a phylactery. Basically, they put their life force into an item.
Voldemort. Horcrux.
You could put it into a grain of sand and throw it into the ocean.
Okay.
Something has to break it in order for you to die.
Okay.
He threw him at his fucking phylactery. Okay.
Well, did you see him doing his own palace? You get the blast and everything. It's like, dude, you got your own laser blasters, and you can't hit somebody that has nothing.
It is the.
Die!
I'm not kidding. It is the equivalent of if this glass ball breaks, I die, and beating someone over the head with it. That is what Mum-Ra just did.
Fucking break. I'm sick of this shit.
Maybe he was suicidal the whole time. He's just like, I'm tired of living here.
It's like, finally someone's here to do it.
I mean, all these cats everywhere, kind of burying their shit everywhere. Like,
I'm in a desert.
This feels the most like a finale, by the way. They even have a christening of just like, you are the true king of the Thundercats. He gets a cape, he gets a big old crown.
He gets a crown. Okay, good.
Gets his sword and his gauntlet back.
Yeah, and it leads to Thundercats. Ho! And then the teaser at the end of Mum-Ra lives per usual.
I didn't actually die. Spoiler.
Because you threw me into the pool of power, you fucking dipshit.
And by that standard, it means the Lion-O's not actually king.
What a great finale is what I would say if there weren't 3 more episodes.
When we're gonna leave it there anyway.
No!
We're leaving it there
We're leaving
anyway.
it there.
I have to mention the last one of the last episodes.
No, you don't.
honestly.
One last thing.
Okay,
one
fine.
sentence.
So,
Mentioned episode.
what if Mum-Ra, but good and also woman? Mum-Rana. There is a fucking
I
episode
need to go back.
where there is a woman named Mum-Rana with a light version of his pyramid that they randomly find. The mutants randomly find, and they're just and she literally has his whole thing of just like the powers of evil, but reverse of like the powers of all that is good.
So we find his exact opposite after we kill him.
She's never met Mum-Ra. Also, Mum-Ra's alive.
She's never even known about her alter ego.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
She sees Mum-Ra and
That's
she's
like Batman never known about Joker.
Yeah,
Who's
she sees
that?
Mum-Ra is like, who are you? And he mind controls her, turning her evil to go and fight the Thundercats, which leads to my favorite line of, oh god, where is it?
It's got a lot of favorite lines.
I know, a lot of
The cat's lair. And she goes, oh! And fucking shoots lasers at it.
Oh god. So that's the finale of Thundercats because it's an 80s cartoon and doesn't have an actual ending.
The actual finale is honestly just Mum-Ra getting the basically Sinister Six of his villains and uniting them into paintings. And he has them fight Lion-O, which leads to another great line from Panthro of a rogues gallery.
There we go. We'll end it on that good line right there. Because yes, this is an 80s cartoon, and just like with
One of them was
Teenage
Safari
Mutant-
Joe.
as well as with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there was not really an actual ending to this.
No, because they never do an ending. It's like, oh shit, we've lost all of our money now.
Fuck!
Game over.
Nobody bought the toys this year.
I will say it's better than the 90s cartoon that just end.
Oh yeah.
At least there's some kind of marginal ending with the 80s cartoons. You know, they're like, oh, we're slightly running on money. Okay, we might as well end this kind of.
You do a thing here, but then still keep it going, and then nope, we're done.
Yeah. No, all the other cartoons just end like The Sopranos. Just.
Oh god.
Uh,
Thundercats.
I'm now happy. After being able to talk about what I just saw, I'm not going to lie, I'm actually very happy with this show. Even more happy than I was before. To finally be able to talk about it and mention how weird and stupid this show can be.
Yes, and that's why we're all single. Because we talk about 80s cartoons and we're happy about it. So, yes.
I run an anime channel. I figured I'd be single.
And I'm just here.
My only hope is that someday I find a good cosplay girl that might be crazy. And that's
Might be.
it.
Might be. Have you met the cosplay girls? They're crazy. We love them, but they're crazy.
That's the thing. I'll know to be scared if she's not crazy.
Because then she's crazy.
Then it turns out it's like Gandhi in Civilization, where the bar flipped.
Thundercats. I gotta say that this series, it's one of those that when you've only seen things be referencing it and all that kind of stuff, like the sword and all that kind of stuff, you don't really get to appreciate it as much as when you're watching it. Because after seeing, like, unfortunately I wasn't able to watch as much of the show, mainly due to having to watch the ads on Hulu and all that kind of stuff, because that's the only place I can find it. And going through.
We didn't say that. I don't know what he's talking about. What's that? We don't. I don't know what Captain Jack Sparrow.
But going through the show, it's honestly, I'm so glad I did, because the fact that all that they did in single episode things, every single episode felt like it was part of this saga, that like it all carried over everything, that you just kept watching. It was just this overarching story that didn't feel like if you missed an episode, you missed out on a shitload of things, but it's just where you did watch, it was whole. It never really felt incomplete. That like you're watching an episode and you're just like, who's that guy? Who's that guy? Who's that guy? No, everybody knows. You're able to understand who everybody is when you're watching the show.
I did
and
feel
that
that
is
at
a
the end,
really hard thing to do.
I did feel that at the end, though, when I said, who the fuck is Safari Joe?
Well, I mean, when someone like that just shows up, it kind of just is. But
Yeah, you're kind of going, okay.
they just wanted to make him.
They just want to put a Safari Australian guy in there.
But to make a show where characters show up and you're not entirely confused, that like you get their gist, who they are, their character, all this kind of stuff, is very hard to do. But when you do it, you got it. And
It's
this
definitely
show,
more of a journey type show.
Yeah.
It's just like you're on the journey. There's things that happen along the journey, but which makes it great. But it has a beginning point and an end point.
and its end. And it is unfortunate that this one wasn't able to get like a full-on ending, like the concrete, like we know that it's over, so here we are ending it. We did have the trials, which did crown Lion-O and all that kind of stuff.
I've read it, they did.
It wasn't made? Or was
No,
it the 2011?
it was at the very end of the season 2. Basically, there was a finale where basically it's this whole thing of like Book of Omens, and then like this whole massive battle leading to Lion-O and Mum-Ra flying into the Book of Omens and having their one last battle, which is left open-ended of how it ends.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Where it's just, it doesn't really resolve the story and everything like that. Mainly because the story
continues.
The story wasn't built like that. The story wasn't built to have... this is one, like Turtles, where it's just like, it just kept trucking along and never really had like a concrete ending. I will say this one probably had a better one than 80s Turtles.
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Well, that was...
Agreed with that one.
Anything else to add about your final thoughts?
Oh God, don't ask Duke about his final thoughts. We'll be here for another hour. It would be our final thoughts.
My final thought is I'm glad that it's over. I'm happy that I watched it, but also I don't think I'm going to watch it again. That was a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. It's right up there, but we definitely got what? Well, we got Robotech, Speed Racer, all the rest of those.
All of those ones, yeah.
Now, if you get the Thunderbirds, I am not watching that one.
Oh, God. Thunderbirds. All right. I got a question.
Thundercats are on the run. Thundercats are loose is played every time that they're freed from being captured.
Yes.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
I've got a question. What is your favorite of all of the crazy little alien races, everything? Which one is your favorite?
Burbles are up there. I think it might be Burbles.
Burbles?
Burbles are so ridiculous.
What about you, Highlander?
I dig the mutants.
The mutants?
They're just ugly and cringy.
Oh yeah, if I was to say Third Earth itself, Burbles. But yeah, outside of that, no, the mutants are some of the most batshit. I love them. Their personalities, especially.
Which one? If you had to pick one of them.
Oh, Monkeyan.
Monkeyan? What about you?
The lizard guy, I forgot his name.
Slithe.
Slithe.
Because Mum-Ra is my favorite.
Understandable, yeah. I like how that's gonna how it's gonna be for every time we do one of these 80s shows.
It's just
like,
the villain.
Who's your favorite? It's Mum-Ra. Who's your favorite? It's Shredder. Who's your favorite? Commander Cobra.
Well, I just love the way we look at this. It's like, We either pick the villains. None of us ever predict the protagonist.
Because they're...
Who's gonna say that? Let's see, Wily Cat is their favorite.
Who picks Mario in Mario Kart?
That would be me.
At most, I would say if I'm able to pick one of the Thundercats.
He's the most
Yeah,
well-rounded.
with Panthro?
Panthro.
What about your...
Oh, definitely Panthro. He's the engineer. He builds shit.
I like,
Also, it's Kevin Michael Richardson in 2011.
If you say Chitara, we all know why. So
I will...
We know you.
No comment.
I mean,
It's mainly because she just walks in and just goes, "You're stupid." Grab.
Well, it's just like when it comes to Chitara, she's kind of like Princess Leia in the metal bikini. It's like every '80s boy's dream.
Trust me, it was every 2011 boy's dream as well.
Well, the one in
carried it over.
The one that they did in 2011, I will say they made her even more attractive. Like, what the hell? Kind of like those cat women in that one show, was it Escaflowne, the TV show?
You mentioned that, yeah.
Oh God.
You're kind of going, wow.
Fear.
Wow.
All right. What's next, Duke?
Robotech.
Robotech. Isn't this just Armor Core but animated?
No, Robotech is a lot better in depth of story. Now, I will say this. The protagonist will get on your nerves after a while. It's like, stop crying!
Okay.
Oh, so it's My Hero Season 1.
Or Digimon.
Oh, no. If it was Digimon, you'd have...
Stop crying.
Okay.
Let's just say he makes Anakin in Attack of the Clones look butch.
Oh my God. No, that is the most terrifying thing you could have said. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching. If you liked it, subscribe for more, and we'll catch you next time. Anything to add?
No.
I'm tired. I've been released.
From Thundercats. Ho! If you want to see more of our content, you can find our YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter on our Linktree at linktree/greenvillains. That's linktr.ee/greenvillains.